adding a panel to the Avigilon appliance. Here is our LP1502 board. I've got it pre-wired in the life safety power panel. As I've shown in a previous video, I've done nothing but take this out of the box and hook it up. You'll notice that your dip switches by default are set 1 on, 2, 3, and 4 off. We'll have to make a modification on that. This little jumper down here needs to be moved from 12 volts to pass. So let's do that real quick. By doing that, we are passing 12 volts to the readers. Otherwise, your readers won't work. So, we've got our network cable connected into our switch, and our laptop is also connected, but we will need to make a secondary IP address in order to communicate with this board. So we'll go here, we'll go to Advanced, and we will add an IP address of 192.168.0. I choose 66. The last octet does not matter because it's masked out by that subnet mask. We'll add that. Okay, okay, okay. And now, when we open Chrome, we should be able to access the default IP address of the LP1502 via 192.168.0.251. Boom. There's our Avigilon login to the board. And if you'll notice, after I attempt a login using the default admin and password of password, we get a warning that the login failed. Actually, it popped up and went away. You didn't see why, but the reason why that failed is because what you need to do is toggle that dip switch 1 off and then back on. Now it will let you log in. Admin, password. No user accounts have been defined. So what do we do first? Anyway, we're in the board. So the first thing we should do is change the network address from its default to what we have documented that we want. In this case, I want it to be 192.168.10.51. 192.168.10.51 with a 255.255.255.250, and our gateway, though it doesn't matter since we're not on the internet, will be .1. Our DNS will also be that 10.1. And we will accept that. Say OK. Now it hasn't applied anything yet. That was a little warning to tell you to apply your settings. But before I even apply my settings, I'm going to go to Users and add a new user called Intech, with Intech our typical password. Save it. That's ready to go. There's really nothing else we need to do here other than apply settings, which will reboot the board. It's giving you a warning that the dip switches are not at normal operating mode. So, before I forget, now that we've made all the changes that we need to make to the board, I'll go in here, turn all the dip switches off, and we should reboot it and be happy. Say yes to this, and it is now rebooting. Once this finishes the reboot cycle, we will be able to add it to the appliance. See, now on this. So to hit the appliance, we have already programmed it with a 192.168.10.50. Now that we're in our appliance, we can go ahead and go to Physical Access, Panels. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, as I had already done it with a previous panel. We'll uninstall this so I can show you the procedure. And we'll delete it. Yes, I'm sure. So, when you come here to Physical Access Panels, there'll be nothing here. If you go back to your panel, you can see that it's in normal operating mode with this LED flashing that way. That means we're good. We're ready to add it. So to add it, we simply go to, actually before we do that, let's make sure that our panel or our appliance is set up to connect panels securely requiring TLS. That should be checked. So we will save that setting. It's probably set that way by default. But in any case, we'll set that. We'll go back to Physical Access, back to Panels, and we will add a panel. In this case, our panel name. You can name it anything you want. I usually name it by the location of the controller. So this one will be downstairs. Controller, and its physical location is in the downstairs closet. We'll tell the system that it's installed, and the model of that board is the LP1502. That should be all we need to add here. Click Save. It'll bring you to a template, which we're not going to deal with. We'll just go right back up here to Panels. Here's our controller. Not quite connected yet. And the reason is we need to go to Host and tell it the IP address of the panel. In this case, we made it 192.168.0.50. I'm sorry, that's not correct. We made it 10.51. 10.51, when we hit Save, we should be able to go back and look at the status of this panel, and it should go green. Come on, panel.